Okay.
That's the big thing between the two. That's a big difference size-wise.
Okay. I guess really not too much else to say, but, personally, I don't know why I'm going back to the same people who assessed it. I personally think the town needs to have its own agent to re-review all of these, because I understand hiring a thing to do it and do it for everybody, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's right for everybody, and if there should be an independent source
So,
to review these things.
so to clarify, Avatar is our agent. They have to work within the state guidelines. So.
I understand that.
Obviously, the next step was to come here and we could agree or disagree whether they're right or wrong, or if you bring evidence that would effectively allow us to change it.
Right.
But the next stop is to go to BTLA and go to the state and
Nope,
contest it
understand.
there. That's where you can change the behavior, because they're the ones driving this all down.
Okay. All right, that's all I have right now.
What's the board's pleasure or desire here?
What's the desire, or what do we have to do?
What we have to do, right?
You have a condex, right?
Condex,
Condos?
yes.
Condos aren't selling right now in town. There's two that just got built on Talent Road that aren't selling, and they're in the 600,000 range. And they're pretty nice looking houses.
That's something that we can do anything about from where we're sitting
I'm
right
just saying
now.
that from
I
condexes are
understand.
not selling and they're overvalued right now.
So when they're reevaluated, will they go down?
Doubtful. Well, I know you dropped.
Well, if the
price.
market goes down, they're gonna go down. If the market goes down. Because that's the problem. It's the market that drove this. The 5 years we've been spending, the market has gone crazy, completely out of control.
I'm not disagreeing that the market is out of control, but when everything I look at for doing the sales doesn't line up with what they're valuing it at, that's out of control too.
And we all have homes in this town that the same thing has happened
Yeah.
to. If you look up mine, I live at 144 Talent Road.
And I'm sure
I
yours is
see
probably
it.
overvalued than what the value of you could actually sell it for is.
It's very
Because I
high.
don't think that their spreadsheet is lining up with reality. And I'm not saying that the values haven't gone up, they have. I'm not denying that at all, it's across the board, but
But on a positive note, if the metric is the same for everyone, everyone's is too high. So that means nobody's really being taxed too much.
or we're just all being
Because-
taxed too
Because
much.
the tax rate, well, the
Because the
tax
tax-
rate went down to 14.60.
Yeah.
The tax is what the tax is, and it's based on the value of all the
But
assessments.
my tax hasn't gone down or hasn't remained the same. I've gone from now what I paid before the assessment around a little, had gone up to over 8,000 to I'm now gonna be over $10,000.
Mine too. For the first time, I broke 10.
Yeah,
And-
me too, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So,
But if you do look at, there's a table talk that Kim and I did that explained that the school budget missed and they went to their default budget, but their default budget still increased the budget by $1.65 a thousand of what you paid for your home. There's a table talk that you can reach on the, and because I believed exactly what you believed, that this has all got to do with the assessment. But there was a vote that took place in March, and then the reevaluation took place in April, and we still had to pay that amount of
Right.
$1.65, I believe it was, a thousand, just for the default budget.
Right.
So if you want to, and you can have a chance to go onto the town page and look at that table talk, it will explain what the other increases were, so that even if your house hadn't changed, your process would have gone up very much the same amount.
okay. All right, that's all I have, so, thank you.
Thank you so much for coming in. Did we already do it?
Nope. So I need a motion to deny, right, or whatever whatever the motion wants to be.
Deny.
Yeah,
My
deny
motion
the
is to
abatement.
deny.
Okay, so a motion to deny the abatement for map 6 lot 83A 21 Snowdrop. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Gannon. Further discussion? None? All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries 4-1-0. Like I said, if you want to pursue it, and I recommend you do, if you feel that and about what you know, definitely go to the BTLA and file.
Right. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hey, John, I just got a note that the streaming
It's-
isn't going
it's back
through
up now.
anymore. Huh?
At least it should be back up now.
Should be back
Yep.
up, okay.
Um, all right, next would be 10 Mike Lane, right? Map 20, lot 59?
David Mary Coy, and I do not see him in the audience.
Yes.
I'm sorry, not Mike Lane. The other one.
Mike Lane, right?
10
Oh,
Mike
it is
Lane. yeah.
10 Mike
10
Lane?
Mike Lane,
Yeah.
yeah.
10 Mike Lane.
Taxpayers.
So this one has an
UDO.
abatement that is recommended
Mhm.
in the overall assessment, about $11,000 value difference.
Is anybody here from Mike Lane?
No.
So I make a motion that we accept that $11,000 value change.
Reducing the
They're
overall.
asking for 75,000
Yeah,
here.
Bill, all right, so we deny that.
Yeah, we're only giving you 11. All right, I have a motion to accept the recommendation of an abatement of $11,000. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion seconded by Mr. Perry. Further discussion? Okay. Hearing none, all those in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries 500. And some reason my phone thought I said Siri. Don't do it again.
Now we're on Nessun Cake.
Okay. Now we're on to 66 Nessun Keg. Lot, yeah, map 11, lot 53.
Incorporate. Oh, yeah.
Not here. So the recommendation is,
The recommendation is to deny.
Yeah, so looking at it, feels it is extremely overvalued, but did not provide any supportive data.
Oh, this is the one because of the culvert?
No,
Yes.
easement.
And you say that there's property all over town that has easements and assessments?
half my yard's an easement.
I would say that 99.9% has some form of easement on them.
Yeah.
Or either, electric utility, drainage, access, there's, some of those are just not quantifiable in the market because it's so normal on every property to have something like that. If there was anything, just with some of these easements or some of these larger easements that take up, a third of the lot or half of the lot, then typically those are already adjusted for and we've accounted for it. But the drainage easements, not typically. We'd have to quantify it with market data. And because it's on every single property, we're not able to discern anything from that, which, lot size, building size, most of the value lies in that site where the home is.
This isn't the house that has the problem with the, what do you call it, the culvert? Does anybody know?
The sinkhole in the driveway.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
Okay, do I have a motion?
I have a motion to deny the waiver for 66 Nessun Keg Drive, map 11, lot 53.
Motion made by Mr. Perry. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Second by Mr. Gannon. Discussion or further discussion?
You have the land, a 1 acre lot assessed at 209,000. Is that normal? 'Cause most of the sales that I see going around is around 100 to 150,000.
For a vacant lot, correct. This is an improved lot, water, septic, driveway, lawn. So the improved site would be higher than what the vacant land is selling for. So there's a cost to get it from that vacant lot to an improved site. So that's where you're seeing the difference on the lots that are improved with the home versus the vacant lot.
Okay. All those in favor, of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
All right.
Motion carries 410.
All the pictures.
So next will be,
7 to 9 Josiah Drive,
Yep.
map 6, lot 77.
thank you.
Last name of tower.
Is anybody from Tower here?
So this was one of those abatements that came in on constitutional grounds only. Throughout the state, we saw every town got a handful of these constitutional abatements filed, arguing the statewide, property, the statewide education property tax, the SWEP. The local abatement does not give any option to abate for that. However, it's my understanding that there will be a class action suit regarding this. There was some Save New Hampshire school site urging people to file these abatements. They've been denied across the state, but that's my understanding is they filed them as kind of a placeholder for a class action suit.
So that's, we deny.
Yep, I make a motion, we deny the reabatement request.
I'll second.
Oops, sorry.
Have Diane.
So, yeah, seconded by Ms. Plansky. Discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstained, motion carries 4-1-0. I'm interested in hearing it, but it'd be nice if it came forward.
That's one going to the state,
Yeah.
This is another one, right?
Yeah, so, the next one is Dar Village.
Yeah.
20 parcels, map 7, lots 82 through 101.
What?
This is, recommended for denial.
So this one came in from a tax representative, and while they opined a market value of 2.262, there was nothing in there to provide any evidence. We've always adjusted all of those to account for the fact that they were income restricted, and so they're assessed really, about 210 per unit, which is super low. And they have been upkept over the years. Last time we were out there on field review, they've been maintained. I'm not sure where the rep is coming up with this, but nothing was provided. They put a value in there and that was it. So there wasn't really anything to analyze based on that.
But they were adjusted for income restrictions. That was really the only question I had.
At like 200 a unit?
They're assessed at about 210, an average of 210 per unit, yeah.
So this really basically is just for us to deny so that they can move it along if they want to.
If they want to.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. Make a
And the
motion that we
property did
deny.
sell back in 2017 for 2.4. I can tell you that the rental market has not gone down in New Hampshire, that's for sure.
So we have a motion, do I have a second to accept the abatement? I mean, to deny the abatement?
I make the motion.
Yep, do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Mr. Gannon. Discussion? All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstained, motion carries 5-0-0. And we have,
53 Page Road. Map
Last
3
name of
Is that you
Roman.
folks?
Yeah.
Yes.
step forward.
We should have done you before the people that weren't there.
It's like you're hearing a train stop for your train station. Get off now.
Have you been abandoned?
What?
Have you been abandoned?
I know.
Go ahead.
Hi. So, when I reviewed for this, it simply assessed more than aligned with consistent comparable properties. When I spoke with Avatar in the summer, we went through during the reevaluation process, we reviewed comparable properties, but we weren't able to really find a clear why my home went up substantially more than the others that were similarly assessed. So the assessment at that time was adjusted from 901 to 821. Still, I live on a main road. The properties that I have for comparison on Foxwoods, Bear Run, and Chamberlain are all within more residential areas and not on main road properties. So my evaluation of 496 to 821.1 is a 65.6% increase. The homes that I have done for comparables, my request of 795 would represent a 60.3% increase or a 3% adjustment from where I currently am now. I'm not asking for my assessment to be lower than comparable homes, only to be assessed consistently with them. And we talked about over the summer, like, my home isn't comparable to some place in Weatherstone or things like that, because I'm on that main road. So the home, specifically the sales that have come on, hold on, like 2 Bear Run Drive sold for $799. It was built in 1996, and it's 2966 square feet, and my home is 26 and some change. These both have in-ground pools. This one has one more bedroom than mine, and their assessment value currently is.
What number are you looking at?
2 Bear Run.
Two, okay, just wanted to pull it up at the same time.
It's on my abatement form, which I cannot find. 2 Bear Run is currently assessed at $784,600. It's sold for $799,000. I have 18 Colonial Drive, which again is more of a residential area. Page is a main road. $787,000 was its sale price. $780,000 is its assessment value.
You sold in 2024? How far do we go back on these?
This goes, you can only go up until April 1st of this.
The original owners sold it in 2024.
Yeah, okay.
They were there since 1997, and they sold in 2024, no.
Lauren, can you give us some,
Sorry, asking me a question.
can you give us some guidance on this? You already lowered her value by how much?
A lot.
A lot.
A lot.
Yeah, we couldn't did you ever figure out like what, like when we did the comparables, what made mine just jump? So we did like what the people's current assessments are versus, and for some reason, I didn't do any work since 2017, and which I did a substantial remodel. But we couldn't figure out what made the model when they did the new assessment just take mine and run.
No, I mean, yours as far as square footage, when you're comparing it to that proposed homes, they're all similar as far as square footage. Quality of your home is a step above some of those comparables that you're looking at. Some are similar. But as I said to the other taxpayer a little bit earlier, you're just looking at a spec colonial, and you've got your home here with the roof cuts and the dormer and, you know, corners and porches and, you know, all those things add to the quality of the home.
Yes, but
Yes, your location is inferior, I agree. So there's different things that you have to account for.
my basement is also a 1965 basement. It's the original basement. It's not going to ever look like a 1996 house. It's not going to be finished. There's no ceiling height down there. We can go down there, but it is, the first floor is original to 1965. I mean, we gutted it, but the basement, the stairway going up and down in the basement was not touched.
We've adjusted for the basement and the age of the house, we put that on there to account for that. The home also has expansion space, which is not finished yet, but if you're looking at that area over the garage, 28 by 36, you've got a half story there that has potential for expansion there as well. But a lot of the other comps you had didn't have. It's a large garage in comparison to some of these homes to 28 by 36 with that potential above it as well.
However, that space above the garage, there is zero access. There's no way to access that from the interior of the home. It would have to, our master bedroom is in there, and there's no way to cut a hallway. There's no way to access that.
But we don't count potential, right? We only count things that are
Actual, right?
actually structured and completed, or at least portionally completed, like that other one you said was, the basement was 3/4 like they were missing just heat, right? So should that be in their assessment?
This isn't listed as finished space, but there is a full half-story on the finish of that garage that does exist and is assessed. Not assessed.
It's just at a lower rate than GLA.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's
It
still
would
assessed.
what?
It's being evaluated at a lower rate right now.
And it also
already.
has there's not a lot of space up there once you get those pitches up there. It's just a channel. I don't know what you would do with that space besides store your Christmas item. I mean, you're right, it's a long span, but it's very slanted up there.
Not sure what else you want from me on this one.
It was like I said, mine just went up to 65.6%, where I saw the other ones were going up about 60 to 62%. So I was just hoping
So when
that it
you
would-
first looked at it, what percent did it go up? When they made the big evaluation change, what was that percent, do you know?
I don't know, it was a lot. But I don't know why,
9 something it was initially.
yeah, it was 901, something like that.
It's 821. 80,000.
Yeah, she's looking for another 26,000 off.
So
It's
that
3%.
was About 81.6% initially.
Right, we said we couldn't figure out what formula in their system made my house.
Made a mistake. So they've corrected their mistake, but you still want another,
Because of,
Because,
I think
yeah.
because of Foxwood and Bear Run and all of them, whose current assessment is those homes are built in the 90s. And they've all been recently remodeled. And their assessment values are still in the 700s.
What you provided, I think, showed a range before any kind of adjustments for the differences was 787 to 820. And
Yeah.
we're at 881. And the whole house was completely gutted and remodeled in 2017.
Except for the basement.
except for the basement.
I'm never gonna go, I should just torn it down, but that's my biggest regret.
Sorry.
That's all I have.
Any thoughts?
Are you asking me?
No.
You know I'm old.
I don't know, I don't like being taxed on potential. I think it should be actuals. It shouldn't be
Well,
potential.
it is actual. I don't want you to get confused by that. It has a
It's being
finished.
a different rate, it's a different rate.
It physically exists there. It's a half-story unfinished, and that's what it is assessed at. It's not assessed as finished living space. It's not. It's unfinished.
Do you assess attics?
Yes. If it has access.
If it has access to what? Because it doesn't have access from the house.
From the garage, probably.
It has access. So if you were in an if you were in a colonial.
Oh, okay.
Scuttle or, we wouldn't.
Where's the access to the space?
In the garage.
From the garage?
Yeah, there's.
Could be a
not
nice,
gonna-
could be a small ADU
For a small
Be very
person.
small.
for a small person.
Right.
Tiny, the littlest attic
Well,
you ever
as I
saw.
get older, I'm shrinking, so.
It's plus the million stairs that you need to walk
that's
up
not
to
a-
get up there, because you want a high ceiling.
I went for the comic relief. I heard all the chuckles out there.
I'm not sure we can help you on this one. Does anyone have a motion? Do we have a motion?
If you want me to make a motion, I'll motion to approve it.
To approve
You're,
the,
you're helping
the
a lot,
abatement.
Bob.
That's why I'm keeping my motion,
what's your motion?
to approve the abatement request.
So you're changing you're not accepting the denial, you're going to approve a 26 $100 reduction.
That is
So that's your
correct.
motion?
That's my motion.
Do I have a second? No? Motion fails without a second.
I'm sorry.
We're not done yet.
No,
We're not-
we
we're not
have
done
another
yet, so, we're not done yet, but, yeah, hang on a second. Do I have another motion?
Make a motion to deny the abatement for 153 Page Road, map 3, lot 20.
Do I have a second?
Reason we did the others. Second.
Second by, yep. Motion made by Mr. Perry, seconded by Ms. Plansky. No matter what the outcome, you have an option to go to the state, and I would suggest you go to the state.
DTLA,
Yeah, BTLA. All right, you may not get the full request, but you'll maybe get some relief, hopefully. Don't know.
And then they can look at the process, which we cannot.
Yeah, you can explain it to them too, what you experienced. All right. All those in favor of the motion say aye. Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries 410. Thank you for waiting.
Thank you.
Thank you for all the information.
And nice renovation too. I did my homework. I looked at the old pictures to the new. I'm like, I don't remember this house being there, but. A lot of work.
Good job.
Good night, folks.
Sorry.
Last but not least, 73 Natticook, map 18, lot 21. So this did have some changes.
Yep.
And the assessment has been reduced on abatement of 14,000. Did you want to speak to the changes, Lauren?
Sure. So they had recently purchased the property. They listed several of the properties in town. They didn't provide any analysis to those. But it was a resale outside of our timeline from when I turned the job over. It was something that took place after that. But I did review that, the sale, so I had access to all the MLS pictures on the property. And then a review of the whole neighborhood there. So I recommended changing the quality rating to the A1 because it's similar to all of those other similar construction homes in that area. The home had been remodeled as well, so noted to change that from good to very good. As many of the key features of the original home had been all upgraded, and we had not previously been. So I reduced the quality, but increased the condition of the home, reduced the assessment to 790, 100. And
So
they
14,000.
purchased it in
14,000.
September 11, 25 for 789.
So this would be the same except the,
So we just have to make a motion
Yep.
to,
I'll make a motion that we approve the abatement of $14,000 on 73 Natticook Ave.
I'll second it.
Motion made and seconded by Mr. Gannon. Discussion? No? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 500.
are these the last of these?
I believe this is the last,
I think
yeah.
that's the last one.
Yep, I think that
Thank you.
concludes our review of abatements.
Really considering how drastically values did go up over the last 5 years, really have had relatively few of the requests, even though I know it has been very long, it's not always easy. A relatively low number given the huge increase.
Thank you.
Agreed.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lauren, for your time. Appreciate your support.
You're welcome. Have a good night. Let me know if you need anything else.
Just put that-
And have to start
Thank you.
serving cocktails at these things.
I know. I'm not gonna tell you what my coffee got.
Thank you, Lauren.
All right, thank you.
Have a great night.
You
You too.
Nathan, you can disconnect the WebEx. Just hit the red button there. Thank you.
Bye.
All right, back to our main agenda.
It's number 4.
The
Appointment of Jesse.
250th committee?
No, Jesse's already gone. I saw him
That
leave.
wasn't Jesse.
Oh, I thought that was, that was Aiden.
Oh,
all right.
let it go.
Well, we haven't done the approval of minutes, but we'll get these guys here. So when we skip down, if everyone's okay, we'll skip to the
Okay.
appointments. So the first appointment is Jesse Nago?
No.
No, no, okay. as a full member of the planning board.
I'll make a motion to accept or appoint Jesse No as a full member on the planning board with perform the duties and subject to liabilities of such office until March 31st, 2029. And that had a full vote of the planning board.
And so he is taking a position that has been vacated,
Yes.
so he moves to a full 3-year term.
Oh, okay.
So I was incorrect on Tuesday night, I sent an email.
Thank you.
But when you are taking a position that has been vacated, it's
Then you-
a
then you-
term.
Interesting.
Okay.
Yeah, he replaced Jeremy.
Yes.
I will second that motion. Discussion?
Just want to thank Jeremy Robitaille for his service in town.
Yes.
Yep, thank you, Jeremy.
Okay, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 500. The next appointment we have is Kevin Brothers for Recreation. Sure, if you want, you're here. Come join us.
Yeah. Another couple of years, you'll be sitting on this side.
Did that just turn
Not
your
after
stomach?
that.
Was it turn?
Once we get you in.
So Kevin, you were obviously appointed by the board, or recommended by the commission at a 500, so I highly recommend you, but tell us why you want to do it, and
Well, I've been involved, I moved up here in 2022. I live at 3 Waterview Circle. Myself, I've been involved with youth sports in Woburn before coming here. I ran Woburn Youth Soccer for 24 years. And this recreation appointment is in my wheelhouse because they do a lot of work by themselves, and that's what I did. I mean, we managed a 20-acre complex in Woburn. I had 2 John Deere Gators, 3 golf carts. I mean, we did all our maintenance. We fertilized 20 acres. I worked hand in hand with the recreation board because what the city couldn't provide, my organization provided. We had a $150,000 budget per year. I left in 2021 with the $150,000 in surplus along with the budget. So it's just something I want to get involved in town. I was always involved. Like I said, started in 1997 in Woburn, and I still sit on the Essex County Soccer Board today. I just believe that if I can do something to help the town get involved, I am a member of the CERT team. I'm also a member of the Spirit of Litchfield. So that was my desire, and this is the particular position. And to Steve's point, I'll never be sitting where you guys are sitting, because I'd rather do more of a working position where you guys deal with a lot.
Saying he's
And
not
I do
real.
appreciate for what you guys do.
did you say we don't
He
work?
just said we don't work.
No, I didn't say it's work, but you guys do a lot of mental work here, and I got to commend you for it because it's a tough position. No matter how right you are, you're always wrong.
Okay.
It's not easy telling people no.
No,
No,
it's
No,
tough.
it's, that last section was not easy at all.
No, that was grueling.
Any other questions for Kevin?
how do you feel, the sports portion of rec is very important, but there's other perspectives in town. How do
Well,
you
it's funny,
feel
as
about-
when I was talking to the people the other day, is being in the Spirit Litchfield, I mean, I'm retired, so if there's something comes up during the day, most of the rec people have jobs. They can call, I can shoot by. I mean, I'm in town because I don't leave town because I have two grandkids in Londonderry that we watch 3 days a week. I shuttle to schools, I pick up from schools, I take them to sports. So I'm available, and you talk about other sports, it's the pickleball. I mean, I went down there when we were preparing for this Christmas fest. The back porch, nobody shoveled it. So I just took and cleared the shovel. I mean, that's something I could do if it's, once I clear my own yard, I can swing by there and clear the drive. I mean, because nobody really takes the initiative to shovel. I know the town's going to take care of the streets first. So by the time pickleball uses it, they're stamping on it. It was a sheet of ice. The day of the event, I went down and saw Kevin Brown, and I grabbed salt because the walkways were somebody's going to get hurt. I was always a big person in movement about liability. I mean, I don't want the town to get sued because any lawsuit comes onto our tax bill. So, that's why I want to do. I mean, like I said, I fix things. I'll do things. I mean, I've installed sprinkler systems in our complex.
They're
I
gonna
mean,
love you.
yeah. So, I think I can add a lot to the commission, especially where nobody is around during the day. I mean, things pop up during the day, and Chris Burns can give me a call and say, "Hey, Kevin, I need to run down here just to check it out." The swing, I've seen swing sets were broken. Somebody reported it. I can go and tape it off, secure it, or fix it, so nobody gets hurt.
Bob, you want the honor as a rec rep?
Oh, yeah, I am until later tonight, right? Yeah,
Assuming you don't want to continue doing this.
make a motion to approve Mr. Brothers as a full member of the rec commission.
Thank you.
I'll second that. Oh,
So motion made by Mr. Leary, seconded by Ms. Plansky. His term will end on March 31st, 2029. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 500. Welcome.
All right,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Great addition.
Do I need to fill out paperwork for you?
You gotta get sworn in.
Yes, so you need to see, Terry, the town clerk, and she'll sign you in. She'll have it tomorrow morning.
All right, no problem.
Meeting tomorrow night.
Thank you, Mr. Brothers.
It was interesting.
Hear that? Meeting tomorrow night.
Yes, I know.
Can we use 2 seconds of time
We're
right
short
now?
on numbers, so.
We have a lot of open positions
we
on a
do.
lot of boards in town.
This
We
year.
need to take care, we have to take advantage of our assets. Every sign in town, website, everything. We gotta get the word out. Zoning board is kinda thin right now.
Budget's short too.
Well, I think they
But
feel
budget's
that.
elected.
Did they?
I think they-
Budget's
Bill Hayes
Bill
got
Hayes.
appointed,
Oh, did he?
or he's
Oh,
on.
great.
Yeah.
Planning needs more alternates. Conservation
Zoning,
needs
planning,
alternates.
Record short
Recreation could
too.
use more alternates.
Zoning only has 4,
Yeah,
if
Red
the
Cross
alternate
3, I
steps
think.
up to be a full member.
Yeah, plus have
That's it.
5, right?
And then we still have attendance issues anyway.
Yeah.
planning needs.
And zoning not having a full board can be a big problem.
I think Kevin probably saw the post that went up, went out on social media about members, volunteers needed, so we can do that again. But you're right, we should get it on all the signs. Now the election's over, the signs should be, although we have events coming up, some of
Is
it.
that what brought you in, Kevin?
No, truthfully, to be honest with you, I actually listen to a lot of these meetings. When TV's horrible, I'll put an earbud in my ear, and I listen to all the meetings. I listen to the select board, planning board.
Okay,
So
good.
I listen to the rec board, and I know that, they, for a couple of months now, they've been talking about needing people.
Yeah.
Judy Brennan, wants to
Yep.
be an alternate.
Yep.
She wants, get off, she just doesn't have the time anymore. And like I said, with being retired, I have plenty of time, so that just gave me the opportunity to step
Yeah.
into the right position. Like I said, I didn't want to be on the select board at all.
Yeah, as soon as Kevin moved into town, he engaged. I've known Kevin now for several years.
So you put out that distress call for the CERT team, and I joined the CERT team, which is a great asset to the fire department. We haven't really activated, but
No.
maybe someday we will be.
We don't want to activate if we don't need to.
Well, we can do.
John, you go lost, we gotta go find you.
I will.
And you trained for that. You've been trained for that in the woods and everything. I missed that one,
That's
and,
right, I was certified in CPR.
Yeah.
Using for parades.
because I'm on the cert too.
Kim, you have something?
Parades, right?
Yeah,
So
that's what- right now
I
we're-
never thought of this, but we did put it in the newsletter.
Mhm.
We did put it on social media. We could change the picture on the website,
We could,
Page.
yep.
because that captures more, right?
Mhm. That's on every
And
page.
we haven't
Yeah.
done that
Yep.
yet,
It's static.
really, to really change that.
Have we put it on the Facebook page?
Yeah, oh yeah, it's been on the
Yeah,
Facebook a
yeah.
couple times.
And I asked Donna to change the sign out here.
What about getting the
and
library,
the,
what about the library putting a poster up for it, on the entrance door?
oh, I'm sure she would, in a heartbeat.
'Cause I see a lot of traffic also.
Okay.
But I think to your point, we've been doing little bits of it, but we gotta ramp it up because I think some of our important boards and commissions are kind of fading off a little bit.
Yeah.
We have to do it. I also encourage those commissions and boards to start seeking people that are active, that just haven't taken the nudge to come forward yet. Cause I know
Maybe
there
I
are
can
those
get
folks.
Laura Gandia to come in and do a table talk too, especially with zoning. Zoning's really important, and people don't necessarily know that there's openings on that board because they don't see them out in the community like they do a conservation commission or.
Right, and the one thing about zoning, what's nice, is there's not a lot of meetings. It's only
Right.
when there's something up for, that's being
Right.
contested or being talked about.
I'll ask her if she'll come on, because I'm gonna come in and ask about topics that you guys wanna do, but that's one I can ask.
It's another place you gotta be comfortable saying no, though.
Yeah.
Yes,
No?
that's a hard one.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay,
Get those taken care of, yep.
all right. All right, so let's get back up to the top of the agenda. Approval of minutes of March 9th, 2026. There's only 4 of us that would have read it or seen it, so has everybody had a chance to read? Anybody want to make a motion to approve?
Where are we? I'm sorry.
We're back to the top. Approval of minutes from March 8th.
Can
I mean,
we
March 9th.
table it and we'll bring them next time? I didn't
Okay.
have a chance to read
I
it
didn't
yet.
read
We can,
that.
all right, so we'll table, March 9th minutes to the next meeting.
you.
All right, next is the Litchfield 250th committee event and budget discussion. So I think the three of you are here for that?
I'm just here for moral support.
Oh.
All the officers, I'm just a member.
She's the heavy, she's the muscle if things go wrong.
Mary, she made
She
sure.
brought
we
her
showed up
cane.
tonight. I'm Nikki Beauregard, 21 Corning Road.
Hey, Nikki.
And here's my partner, Joe Stapleton.
21 Mark Lane, Joe
Oh, we're
Stapleton.
both 21s.
21.
21.
You found another match, there you go.
So you guys should have received a few documents from us. There's a budget, a map, and a schedule. All of them are working documents, subject to change, based on, how things work out. So for those of people that are watching and can't see, the map is of Dara Pond, or Roy Memorial Park, where we're planning on having the celebration on July 25th and 26th. It's going to include a tethered hot air balloon. Thanks to our board approving that. Some fireworks, we're hoping for a music stage, community events. We're going to have community booths and talent hall, so, for instance, you guys could have a booth and meet people in Litchfield and also let them know about all the openings on the boards.
You could volunteer for the dunk
And
tank.
they could volunteer for the dunk tank. So anyway, so we're hoping to have a lot of really interactive, fun family activities. We're also talking about a chili cook-off and maybe an apple pie contest. So, the schedule, is across 2 days. We're looking at activities on Saturday and Sunday to include historical events as well as, the history of Litchfield as well as the fun activities.
So,
Would anyone, the 25th and the
Would anyone like
26th of
hard
July,
copies
is that
on
right?
the-
Yep.
I'm sorry?
25th and 26th?
July 25th and 26th, the last weekend in July.
Would anyone like hard copies of the schedule? No, I have it.
Yeah, please, Joe.
Looks great.
Nikki, there was a question that came up. Kim doesn't believe that she's seen the request and approval for Dara for those 2 days. I know that
Corey-
Corey went.
Yeah.
Has it been completed? And could you just verify that?
I'll verify.
after you
Who
leave?
would do that? The
Well,
rec
that's
committee?
the rec commission.
We're meeting with the rec commission tomorrow night.
Okay, so just, okay,
And
good.
Chris was at our meeting yesterday.
Yep.
Or last week.
Yep.
So yeah, we'll be meeting with the rec commission tomorrow night.
And then Kim needs that, right?
to,
So Chris will generally send that over.
Okay.
And then Corey filled out a request for the general, but I'm not sure if all the events are at Dara. Not
Well,
sure.
right now, that's one of the things that we're debating. So, there's historical events at the Historical Society in the graveyard and stuff, like where the people would go there for the history. Most of the activities are at Dara Pond. The only thing that we're not sure about is the fireworks. Because the company that have been used in the past weren't available, so this is a different company. And when they mapped out where the fireworks, where we'd want them, if they're going to be at Dara Pond, they'd want like the entire field cleared like hours beforehand. So now we're talking about, well, this is kind of a debate, is where do we have the fireworks?
But I'm also gonna be meeting with Dan and Doug, the fire chief and police chief next week.
Yeah, so we'll get their
Probably
input.
this week, actually, now.
So the process per the policy is that the request comes over, which Corey already filled out. We didn't have a schedule, so when you sent the schedule over, the schedule and everything went. So it goes to the road agent, the police chief, and the fire chief. They give back, they have a document that they have to fill out with any concerns or any, restrictions that they're putting on it. Say the police chief decides you need it one detail.
Yeah,
you know.
yeah.
He'll put that all on the document. The document will come back over and be presented to the whole board. So they've got the document now to fill out, and they'll fill it out and send it back, and then
Okay.
we'll let you know what that says, and we'll give it to
Okay.
the board.
And I'll be
Alright.
back with input to you guys about, from
Right.
what the fire department says
Right.
and the, I did.
Right, just so you know, so the fireworks company looked at different properties in Litchfield. They thought that Griffin was like the best place to set off fireworks of all the, between,
Even Sawmill wasn't a good,
I don't know if they looked at that.
That might be even better.
I would,
I'm not
we're
sure,
talking
well,
about
I mean,
trying
the
to
other
get-
thought was doing it at, so there's, we could do it like at Campbell, so people are already at Darapon and parking at Campbell, and then the fireworks would be at Campbell, and maybe you'd still see them if you were at Darapon. Versus, it's
Or you
gonna be
could walk
nighttime and everything's gonna be wrapped up anyway. So do we just do it all at Griffin where people could see the fireworks and there's a lot of fields, but then the question there is parking. So we talked about just doing lists of pros and cons of the different places to set off the fireworks. Cause this company doesn't wanna do it right at Darapon with all the people there.
I would think, yeah, I was gonna say Sawmill one, cause it's good parking, they could just do it up over the field, over the,
Is
they
there
can
good
fire, they could fire it up off of the, over the,
yeah, that's
they
not
can
bad.
launch it from the recycling center behind
Yep,
and up
that's
over
true.
the field, and
That's not a horrible idea,
I have an idea once in a while.
right? Oh my God, and I just saw one.
It's a miracle.
The downside, though, so if you did it from the recycling, though, they need a number of hours to set up, and then there has to be a secure area. So if you went to the recycling area, could they close that area down?
If it's on Sunday, yeah.
It would be a Saturday.
Saturday.
Oh, it's Saturday?
It's a
Saturday
Saturday.
night so the recycling
They
closes
close
at
at
7,
7.
but they would be in the highway section potentially, because that's where the open path is, so they
Oh,
could
okay.
probably secure that back area and just have recycling finish its business and then shut down. Obviously coordinate with those folks and see if it's even viable for them and then those two departments.
Right.
But that'd be, because there's plenty of parking at Sawmill, and it's all open field there.
That'd be a nice place to put down a blanket and
Just
watch
watch it, yeah.
fireworks,
Yeah,
maybe.
so we'll look into that. So that's the only thing that we think won't be at Dara,
Okay.
is the fireworks.
Did we have the request for the 500 for the balloon?
I'm waiting for the minutes to attach. I have that, and I was gonna drop it off tomorrow.
And the waiver.
And
So
oh, I
did they
thought you had.
sign the waiver?
So didn't he sign it and email it to you? He signed it and emailed it back.
Okay, I'll look.
Yeah,
If not, I'll contact him. Just let me know and I'll get it.
I can check my email too, because I
Yeah,
think
because I haven't seen
CC'd.
it, so.
Okay.
I'll check my
Then
email.
I want to get that in this
Right,
week's
I've already
check
got it.
run, so
I've
we
already
can
got it.
get the
Yes,
check
he
out
has,
the
he
door.
has held the dates for us, though. He told me not to
I've got it all
worry.
filled out, ready to go to give to you.
So our next push is gonna be like advertising to the town and, looking for fundraising. To see if we can raise the money to
Flatbed,
pay
are we
for
still
this.
looking for a flatbed? Because I noticed when I was looking through
Well,
this.
so that's the other, so I got so the AV equipment, like audiovisual stuff, we got a quote for almost $8,000 from one company, and they also told us that using a flatbed truck isn't a good idea for several reasons. So we're still looking at that. That's quite larger than the estimate that we guessed for AV setup.
What about Emily? Did she call you yet?
I'll tell you, she doesn't have the time to spend, so. So anyway, so I can talk to you offline about that.
Yep.
So, we're still working on, that's why the budget is fluid, because we're still trying to secure some things. If anybody knows anybody that does audiovisual equipment, let us know. We're still working on acts too. We're looking on a main act. It's kind of late. A lot of good bands have already made their plans for the summer. So we're looking at maybe perhaps a couple of different acts. And then, of course, we want to have like a Litchfield's Got Talent show, and then perhaps also allow time on the stage for any local bands, teenagers, adults that play in a band and want to play. We'll make time for everybody to get up on the stage.
Love it.
So it's gonna be just like Hallmark.
Hallmark weekend.
Yeah. Hallmark in Litchfield.
That's a lot
Do you
of
guys
fun.
have any questions for us?
Did you discuss, t-shirts or sweatshirts or?
We're still working on that swag, but the problem with that is we need to make money before we can spend money, so.
So we have, we're working, the town's working with a provider right now who does an online.
Like bonfire type of thing?
So people purchase it right online with their own credit cards and it goes to them. Mm-hmm. So they're building a site for our employees to order gear.
So could we do that through
And
that?
so if you wanted to meet with him, I'd be glad to hook you up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, because we actually talked about that, and then we didn't know how to do it, because like, I'm not gonna hook that up to my own checking account, you know?
Right,
But
yeah,
if we could
this
do it-
is the
That's
person that
perfect.
wants it.
We don't have an area to store that many, we can't buy products.
No,
You don't
but
have
it's
to
people
store
buy
it.
it themselves, yeah.
Yeah, the
That's
people
why
that are
that's a better
interested,
idea.
like,
Yeah.
go right online, they put in their credit cards, they buy whatever they want.
Right, and you just get a
t-shirts or
percentage
whatever,
of it.
And you get yeah.
Yeah.
So, it's actually a company, thank you to the Litchfield veterans, again, that the veterans have used, and so we met with them, Litchfield Fires met with them.
Nice, okay.
And so, I'd be glad to
Yeah,
send it over to
definitely.
you.
That would be a big help, because that's been we've been a little bit slow on that. There are a couple of logos through the state of New Hampshire that they recommend we use that we kind of liked. And so we thought we'd take those logos and like add like Litchfield, July 25, 26 or whatever onto it to make them a little bit more personalized for us.
And I can send that to you tomorrow.
Yeah, they have everything you could
Yeah.
think of, so
That's awesome. Yeah,
hook you up.
okay. And we need volunteers too, so. All right, do you have any other questions? Thank you, and we can, give you an update later.
Yep.
We need a vote on the balloon.
For $500 for the,
Oh, yeah, we need to clean that up.
Make a motion, yeah.
To authorize, well, so the board, when we talked, if you needed it, we were gonna allow you to do it. We were in agreement, you got all the paperwork back. So we just want to formalize the motion to, accept the agreement, but also authorize the $500 and then any additional payments after that, so that's my motion.
I second that.
All right, motion made and seconded. Any other discussion?
Yeah.
Good, okay, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed?
Good luck, Matt.
so I'll get a hot air balloon ride.
A motion is 401.
I could bring a few.
And
Steve Perry's
if we
stand.
could ask for one more motion,
Mm-hmm.
just to clear, up some old history. So last week, on the 9th, when we submitted to you, we talked that there were two funds, and that one had been kind of used by the board for this recreation bandstand. When we went back in the minutes, it appears like that fund had kind of been given, to that purpose, so we'd like you to make a motion to bring that purpose back to the, 250th.
Town celebration.
Yeah, so that was the, one that is held by the treasurer.
How long ago was that put into a bandstand?
I think we were on
I'm
board.
thinking I'm remembering that.
I think we did it.
Yes, so that was, oh gosh,
Long time
a
ago.
while ago.
Yeah.
It was, 2009 it was originally, and then you bought the
What year was the
bandstand.
275th?
2009. Yes.
really.
2012.
2012, yeah.
So just so there's no confusion as to this fund is going to be used for the 250th, if someone could make a motion, to recommend that the money held with the treasurer, it's labeled as the 275th?
Because it was the town's 275th.
Yeah.
It was fundraised by the 275th committee.
Yeah, so if we could just make a motion that the 275th will be used for the 250th, that'd be great.
So moved. Do I have a second?
Second,
Don't we wanna save that for the town's 300th? That's coming up in 8 years.
only if you want some of what's
We're gonna
left
leave
from
whatever's
us.
left over for that.
I think if these folks are successful this year, there's hopefully some money left, and
There'll be
that
10%
they'll
of
be,
food trucks
put right back in that account and keep it
We
up,
won't
so.
have anything, any use for, that will go right into that fund.
In all honesty, that money was
Just
left
share.
over from the 250th because they over-raised for it.
Yeah, so we're hoping they overraise here.
Oh,
We're hoping we hope we overraise as well, and then we'll share,
yeah.
and then we'll share,
Monday or Tuesday this
just like this is gonna share.
All right, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 500.
Thanks.
Thank you very much, and good luck with the rest of it. Good luck tomorrow night.
All right, time to go.
All right, so.
Yes,
7:50.
I know these guys don't want them,
All right, next up is the policy requirement review in 2026. We're just going to go through a list of what's coming up and kind of set the tone going forward. So, Ms. Kleiner?
So, I put together the list, and shared it with the department heads, we all met last week. This is a list of policies that need to be reviewed. We are currently working on the personnel policy. It's been shared with all the department heads, they've gone through it. And Karen and Terry and I are going to meet on Wednesday and just go through. We think that's the most important one that should come to the board first, because it was kind of in flux last year. So we've gotten some really good feedback, and there's a number of changes in there. So we might have that for the April meeting if the board sees fit. But I've got the policy and the date that it was last approved by the board on the right-hand side. Obviously, some of those 2019. The background check policy was waiting for the volunteer policy, which we do have an update from Primex on that. So I need to send that back out to all the boards and commissions for their feedback, per the board's request. But other ones like, the conference and meeting policy, the accounts receivable write-off policy,
Those have been a while. I
those
noticed.
have been a while, but there's not a whole lot. We'll look those over relatively quickly and get those to the board. And then the bottom is just a list of things that we were thinking of. We've already dealt with the online store, we're putting that together for employees. We have some new laws and amendments of things that changed last year to update the orientation manual. Then we'll send that manual out to all the boards and commissions again. There's 3 items that are gonna affect our budget process because they'll be new for 2027. Police union contract, fire dispatch, and ambulance. Those all need to be renegotiated. I know fire's working on dispatch and ambulance.
Are they gonna go to different towns other than just Hudson?
Short answer is yes.
So they're talking to both,
More than one?
yeah, the first thing is for them to meet with Hudson.
Oh, yeah, of
And,
course.
But negotiations for the union contract, we'll need to put together a team relatively quickly. Last time, we got to December and we were still talking, and that's not good, because it puts us off on being able to figure out warrant articles and
So
tax cap and things.
the last contract, I believe it was Steve Gannon, yourself, and Karen, and then the police department negotiated the initial negotiations,
Yes,
correct?
and I believe the chief would like to be involved
Right.
this year.
Anybody has a desire to do it again?
I don't mind doing it again. I don't think it'll be as
Anybody else wanna
difficult
do
as
it?
last time.
I think we did a pretty good job, the three of us working together, and Dan, of course, will have his items that he
He wasn't
needs.
with us then, right?
He wasn't with us then.
Right, I think it was, French, right?
Yes.
He wasn't with us.
Oh, he was
had
already,
passed.
okay, he passed.
You passed at the
He
time?
passed.
Typically, the chief is involved. It's kind of a unique situation, so, but he does get there. If there's no objections of Steve doing it again this year, I think just allow it to happen, and that's the official negotiation committee.
And then there's a bunch of old ordinances. They're on the town website under ordinances. They really need to be reviewed, because some of these state laws have changed, the RSAs that originally. So that's going to take a while, and I think we should probably get some department heads and kind of assign it to them. I know some of them are police and fire, so it makes sense that they do it.
Yep.
And then the last one is in my office, and it's a big one, the review of all non-public minutes. So state law is that we have to create a list. They have to be reviewed. If they haven't been reviewed within 10 years, they need to get released. The reason that this has taken so long is many of these non-public minutes were not computerized.
Older than 10 years.
That's
So
correct,
what-
but now they have to be computerized, so that means
Scan them.
I'm gonna be in on some weekends scanning when people aren't around, and creating that list, and it's just a big task. I
Well, if
have
they're supposed to be released in
draws.
10 years, what does it matter at that point? Are there any reasons why we would not release it?
Scan them and release them?
You
Let's
should
just
really,
release them.
you should really review them, so that,
Okay, because there could be some we might want to seal, scan.
I don't think we can seal
you
them.
you can't
seal?
rescan, you can't reseal them if it's been more than 10 years, but you should be aware of what's in them.
There can definitely be things that just
Yeah,
That could,
don't need to be in public eyes.
but they're going to get in public
They're
eyes one
gonna
way or
be
the
in
other,
public
so
eye.
that's the thing.
it's a law.
But
At least give us
give us a heads up,
But,
right?
yeah, so, and what this takes is, we're developing, I'm developing the list. We have to go into non-public session, so it would be, having a non-public session at probably every meeting.
Or
You
we can just
review
do,
'em in
or we can just
non-public.
do a work session and just do it in non-public another day, it makes
Could.
sense.
Yeah, that would be,
Yeah.
that would
Try to
be
get them all
ideal.
done, ideally, if you can, especially if you can categorize them. These are neutral, this has got some challenges, and let's see what those are, right? So, we can
Yeah.
look at that, approach it that way if we, when we get close to that.
Okay.
Um,
I'd really like to get that done.
How much we got?
My fear is it's a lot more than we think. I've seen the,
Two draws.
yeah, sealed folders,
Gotta
right,
be
all those
careful
drawers,
when we
right?
go
Two
in
large
there.
draws full.
Yeah.
I'm willing
Just
to,
reading them are
I'm willing to pitch in and go through them and flag what needs to be known.
That would be great.
Okay.
I have some free time on my hands. I might be able to help.
Yeah, maybe we all can
Do it,
pitch,
yeah.
maybe we can all just pitch in, right, but,
You gonna buy me lunch? I'll sit here on a
I'll
Saturday.
buy you all lunch, I don't care.
They're
Um,
Saturday and
interesting.
help.
Some of them
I,
are probably back in your former days.
oh, sweet, I probably know about them then. I probably have my own notes. With regards to the personnel policy, after you and Karen review it, could you release it for us to view and comment?
Absolutely.
we do it in meeting.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think it's a pretty lengthy document, and I know, I know what some of the employees were changing, so I think some of it would be worthwhile for us to look at it too, so.
Yes, and so, yeah, some of the changes I think are going to need some discussion. So,
Okay.
so that's our list.
So all of these policies have to be reviewed,
Mm-hmm.
but you're gonna go through them.
I think we hit the
Department
oldest
heads and all.
ones unless you have, yeah, so we
And then
meet
furnish
once a
them to us.
month, the third Wednesday of every month. What I've been doing is sending some out and everyone goes and comments. Some of these are gonna be real easy because the department
much
heads aren't
change
gonna have much to, like the, accounts receivable.
Hasn't
The
changed.
only department head that might have any real comments on that would probably be Karen. But, so some of them will go really quickly.
Yep.
Others will probably, take more time, like the communications policy, but.
So, I am a little confused, and maybe you recall this too. When we started creating these policies, we were supposed to review these policies every year and renew them every year. Not that they're changed, we acknowledge them and we re-accept them back in and
Keep
redate it.
current.
And I guess I'm
I
questioning.
think you
'cause
see the dates on here.
Yeah, I
as
see the
to
one.
when they stopped being renewed,
Correct,
Some of them, yeah.
and
So,
that was prior to Kim being
Yes.
here.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I would say somewhere around 2020 and COVID, you got busy with other issues and this became not as important,
I don't think
considering you were in COVID.
I don't think we can use COVID as an excuse anymore.
No.
2017,
And some of these-
So, but I think that's where it
2019.
stopped.
The interesting thing is, it's supposed to be, the knowledge was, the town administrator is supposed to review it based on laws and all that stuff, and our department is, and it comes to us to approve. I don't see how it's a heavy lift for the board to reapprove them, even if there's no changes. So, I guess we'll get it back on cycle.
Yeah, I mean, I think we did, there are some that are new, right? I mean,
Yeah, there's some you
facilities
created.
naming, you didn't have that.
That was created, yeah.
We
recently.
created it, we created communications policy, the federal grant, policy, that had to be created in 2024. So
Let's
there have
catch up before
definitely
we do
been
any more.
some that had to be created, which was more work.
Well, all the question too is there any to be discarded too? So that's something that be happening through the review process. So, okay. All right, moving on, special event permits. So there are two here. One is for, the parade, the July 4th parade, and then the subsequent event afterwards, the car show.
And so the, police, highway and fire have gone through both the 4th of July parade and the car show. Car show, didn't have any requirements. The 4th of July parade, CERT is working, with the organizer, and police have, recommended the same detail that they had last year. So we are asking for your approval of those two permits, as their standard. Nothing will change since
Ha-
2025.
Has Recreation approved the use of Darapon? Yes, I do see it here.
Yes, they have.
Okay, perfect. Do you have any motions?
Make a motion to approve the car show application, that's the one we'll start with,
Car show's right here.
for July 4th.
Car
I'm
show's right there.
sorry.
Car show's right there.
The dates will be July 4th,
Yeah.
10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at Royal Memorial Park.
Both one.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion?
Is that for both of them or just the car?
Just the
Just
car
the
show.
car show.
They're two separate permits, so.
I figure it's easier to separate them. Well, it's better to separate them.
Yep.
It's not easier.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 500. And then the second one?
Make a motion to approve the 4th of July parade, which is on the 4th of July. Start time 9:30 a.m., end time at 10:30 a.m. The event location is Albuquerque Avenue.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Leary. Discussion? None? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 500. All right, that closes special permits. Everybody
Skip
sign.
number 6 on the agenda.
What was
Field
number
maintenance.
six? Oh, sweet. Thank you.
Yes.
You're right, Bob, thank you. So, sliding back up, field maintenance contract and purchase order for Alliance Landscaping for $99,995. And I believe this is more of an oversight.
That's correct. Our apologies on this. So,
I have it somewhere.
per the purchasing policy, anything over $12,000 has to come to the Board of Selectmen. As I'm sure you know, they went out for an RFP, last year. They chose Alliance, with a modification of Highway taking some of the work, which lowered, the Alliance, to $99,995. I went back and looked, Rec had approved it on October 14th, but then it didn't get forwarded to the board for your review. So I'm asking if you will approve not only the contract, but the purchase order, which will encumber the funds in our budget, and we will get the first payment to Alliance.
Okay. I'll make a motion that we authorize the PO and to be signed by the board, by the chair for Alliance Landscaping and Excavation LLC for $99,995, which was previously approved by the Recreation Commission, whatever date that was, 3/18, so.
Second.
So motion made and seconded by Mr. Perry. Further discussion?
Yeah, so now that we'll go with the modified contract, is the delta, the difference of the money from the original contract now transferring over to Kevin to cover the
No.
rest? No, there's no, but,
There was no transfer into the highway. It was a reduction, in the budget.
Right, it was.
okay, so it was a reduction in the budget, but is Kevin gonna be able to absorb or we're gonna transfer it, we'll cover it for his summer help?
Yes, he's going to, cover it this year, and the thought was that we will come to the board during this budget process, to let you know what's needed, if that's going to be the continuation. going
Okay, cause
forward.
he's not really sure what it's gonna take, and
That's
plus,
right.
I know conservation wants, bought a lawnmower, so it's gonna be a lot of flux.
Yeah, I know that he has worked it out with what his summer schedule is and his staff, and, so I totally believe that Mr. Brown will be able to handle it.
Okay. I was curious, but I originally broke that contract out with that purpose so that we could know true field maintenance, we're paying someone to take care of the grass,
Right.
and then a lot of the contractors came in, they didn't wanna do, John Bryan access and all the scrub grass. And even, Natticook was saying the same thing, he has to maintain 2 mowers because he doesn't wanna use this mower and ride it on the good grass, cause then he'll,
Right.
Chip the blades and stuff, yeah.
okay. I was wondering if Kevin was gonna be able to absorb that and if funds are being transferred. out of
I
this.
will say the contract looks great. Hopefully they do as good a job as we've had in the past.
Right.
Yeah,
Hard to keep up with Ryan.
they had it this summer.
They did?
Yep, Ryan gave up last year.
Okay, and
But
looked pretty good.
He set the bar high. He
Yeah,
really
you
did.
did. You really did.
All right,
Okay,
call motion.
yeah, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries 500. All right, fire contract for Chief Nickel. So this is sort of I know we've all had time to review, or
I did.
I believe some of us, or all of us did, had an opportunity to review it, so.
I had some confusion when I was going through it, because there was stuff crossed out here, there.
Yes, so, section 2.5.3 has been struck. That will be removed, that's been agreed upon with the employee. And then below that, 2.6 has been struck.
2.5.3
2.5.3, which actually
is the health insurance.
that only speaks to if the employee chose not to take the health insurance,
So
Okay, but he is,
but he does,
okay.
so that's really not applicable, and there'd be really no reason he wouldn't. And 2.6 is being absorbed by the fire department budget. It's in with the rest of the uniforms, so no reason to reimburse him.
And other than that, it's the standard
The same.
increase plus one additional holiday.
It follows the other contract
Yep.
that you have, and it has been agreed upon with the employee.
So this should be, the date should be 2026. Because the one I'm looking at here is a dated August 2025.
It's because when the contract was first introduced to the board, so it hasn't been changed, they're ratified.
So there'll be a new one that
There'll
says
be a date,
March
Yes.
or April 1st, or what will the date be?
No, so so this agreement actually commences
May
May
29th.
29th of 2026, because that's when his current one ends.
Okay.
The agreement made this, it'll be
That we
if I
approved.
bring it next meeting, it'll be the 13th of April.
That's the
Because
date we
that's the
approved,
date
that's the date
it's
we approved and
signed.
adopted.
Right.
But it doesn't commence until May of 2026.
So Diane, consider this like a first read where we're having a dialogue about
Okay.
it. And so if we make no more changes between now and the next meeting, she'll lock it, print it, and that'll be the copy we'll vote on and approve and sign.
Okay.
If there's no additional changes or any other changes between now and then. Yeah, well, actually, I'll take it back. This is the first read. If there are no more changes, no more recognition, and we're good with it, we can lock it now, and then we'll get it for approval next meeting. But if we want to take more time to review it, you'll have a second read opportunity, and that's when we decide that it's good.
We
And
have some suggestions on the sides here.
they're all there that's been made. And I think she's accepted all those, right?
Not on this.
So nobody on the board sat down with the chief, because that's unusual. We usually sit
Yeah.
down with somebody when it's time to talk about a contract.
I think we
We
should
did it,
have.
we did it with Kim, I think it was Steve Weber, and I'm trying to remember who else was in on that. We did it with John, Kevin and I sat with you.
Mhm.
So it's just, if we're changing precedent, then
I don't want to.
I don't know if that's a good idea. Usually two members of the board sit down with the person and discuss any changes before it even comes.
Yeah,
to
I think
us.
we should do that once we agree that we're okay with it. We go talk to them now and see if there's any other
Well, it's
changes.
usually done before this even comes forward.
Well, that's not how it was
That's-
done with,
That's how we did it with you, because we settled on the 2%, how many years, the length of the contract, and then we brought it back to the board,
Yeah,
and the board approved it.
I don't know what the board did prior to that, so I just assumed that was the first meeting, so.
But since I've been here, that's
Yeah.
how we've done it.
I don't have any history of your first ones. I think, Steve, you started this back in last year to get this put forward. And I believe the board decided not to bring it forward at that time because thought it was too early when we were just trying to settle in for the budget.
Yep.
So we were trying to negotiate it back then, and you shut the whole thing down, saying that's not the process. We wait till it expires. So, or this time frame here. So
Yeah,
I actually assume, Steve, you may have talked to Doug at the time,
Yeah.
yeah,
but that was back in August when we originally tried
If
to
you wanna
propose
have
it.
Bob, if you wanna have a formal conversation with them, I'm sure we can.
No, but I'm just saying, if we're changing the way that we're doing things, then we should have a.
Well, I'm just confused
discussion
because
about
Kim's saying that's not how it's been done, and I don't,
it
this is
wasn't
the
done
first
that
contract
way
we've
with
seen.
me, it wasn't done that way with,
Yeah, we authorized,
Steve Jones, and it
we
wasn't done
authorized
that way.
Weber to talk to you and to make you a formal, offer from the town.
That's done.
The board authorized that. You weren't in on it, but
I
before
didn't
then.
have a
Yeah.
contract when I first
No,
came.
you were at-will employee, but, and that was the board's decision to authorize Steve to talk to you. on that behalf, on the board's
Yes,
behalf.
Yes, but when the contract came forward,
It was already approved by the board.
well, yeah, I negotiated, I guess,
Yeah.
with the board.
Yes, yeah.
But then
Correct.
with Chief Jones and, Captain Tessier and Doug, Chief Nickel, I was asked by the board to negotiate with them and bring the contracts back to the board. That's what I did. That's what I was told to do.
If that's the way we're gonna do it going forward, I don't have a problem with it, but if we're changing the way that we.
I didn't authorize that change. That happened when you were sitting on the board as chair, not me. I didn't do it. I'm just following what the practice was.
We didn't authorize it.
Well, you just got 3 contracts that Kim talks about that was negotiated that way without
First
the.
one with the first one with Chief Nickel, then Chief Jones, then Captain Tessier.
Were all negotiated before coming to the board.
Yeah, I do remember being involved in it, and then authorizing you to make the presentation to them.
Oh, if you spoke to them, I wasn't aware of it. I mean,
So
I know
wasn't
we
there an official
spoke
meeting,
back
a non-public meeting with the chief to negotiate his contract? That would have been a meeting, so there's no meeting record that I saw.
No, there wasn't a meeting, just like when we sat with you, there was no meeting. That was Kevin Lynch and myself sitting with you in the back room.
So you're saying you sat with Doug the first time and some other
We
selectmen,
discussed as a board what we were gonna do with Doug.
yeah.
okay?
Yeah.
Which is what I
That
think,
was part of
which
it.
is what I think we're doing right
That was
now.
part of a meeting, yeah.
That's what I think we're doing right now, so
Well, no,
when did the
we already
board?
have a contract draft right
No,
here.
this is the,
This is
this is old contract just rewritten
Look
up.
on the right-hand side
yeah.
of these, there's comments, like Steve went through and read it today,
Yeah.
made some changes.
I don't have a problem with it, I'm just saying, if that's the way we're going to do it, let's just state that this is the way we'll do it. If we wanna authorize her to do it all, that's fine.
We're not.
I don't have a problem with that.
We're not. I think, what I'm saying is that I believe this board originally asked her to go think
Speak
about.
with the employees.
Speak with the employee, because they're gonna renegotiate the contract, not the first contract, just renew it. She got feedback from the employee, we've all given her feedback. It is now time, if we're in agreement, we can choose to bring Doug in a non-public and discuss it, and then come out of non-public and approve it.
So, I only see comments on here for myself
And Kim,
and Kim.
Yep.
But that's Kim making the changes,
right?
and then the comment is why she made
That's
the
probably
change.
because no one else made comments.
I didn't, because I got lost in the document,
Because
honestly.
I didn't make
Then-
comments because you made the same comments I was gonna make, so I didn't bother.
So
I-
my question then comes, is this something we're talking about in an open meeting?
Yes, because it's a,
We don't do this in non-public? to then
Terms of
present
a
to him?
contract would be.
Because otherwise, this is now a, I guess, it's public the whole way through.
The
already
terms
has
would be
been
non-public.
public. It was public last
Back in,
fall.
back in August.
Yeah,
Because it's a contracted position.
and it's already been, the employee's already been aware.
in your
of
past
it.
history, it wasn't? It was done in non-public?
It was, they were always done in non-public.
Yeah.
And then they were brought forward after they were agreed
approval.
upon.
For approval.
Right.
So, well, when both parties agreed, it would then be an announcement after a non-public that it was finally approved and signed off, that we just gave Fire Chief Nickel a new contract for 26 through 29.
That sounds like probably.
And that's the way we used to do it.
That's why, that's what I'm saying, it changed in the last round of people, and this is how it already got introduced.
And you
That's why
can
I
go
did
onto, you can go onto the website and read his contract.
Yeah, his contract's on
It's
the
it's
website.
public.
Because he's a
Yeah.
public employee.
All contracts.
After it's,
all
but
contracts
after
on the
it's
website.
fine.
Yeah,
After it's
negotiations
fine.
would be
But
non-public.
negotiation, usually they were non-public
Yes, correct.
until it was agreed upon.
But I think that, I guess in terms of how you have been doing it in the past, not how we did it in the past or whatever, it sounds like Kim was already authorized to reach out to him and talk about what a renewal looked like.
And that's
He's
perfectly
already,
fine.
he's already provided his feedback.
Yep.
We've all had opportunity to read it and disagree with it or not disagree with it, and this is our first read.
Yeah.
And, at this point, we haven't made a decision one way or the other.
But I guess the question from Steve is, should we be doing this in non-public where we're discussing the terms and it hasn't been agreed upon yet? And Bob is saying that it should have been done by selectmen.
So if that's the case, then why don't we table it?
And have-
Ask Chief Nickel to come in and we'll schedule a non-public, because now you're negotiating with an
Well,
employee.
if you,
Terms.
if we're talking about Bob's process, though, it wasn't done in a meeting, it was done in an office with just two members talking to the candidate or the employee, saying, are these acceptable? And they say yes, and then it becomes a ratified document at that point.
Because I know that when I negotiated Troy's contract, when
Mm-hmm.
Troy came on board, Troy and I, he set his guidelines, I had my guidelines, bring it back to the board discussed it in non-public,
Okay.
and then call Troy back, this is the changes that need to be made, and this is what they want you to accept. He approved it, then we agreed, signed off, announced it. That was the way it was done back then.
But
If
you
it's changed, that's
can't
fine.
make a vote on the contract in non-public.
Right, we agreed in non-public, and then
No,
came
come
out,
out- come out of
Made a
non-public and
motion.
accept
and
this.
then we made the motion and announced it.
Yeah.
I'm fine with it either way, I have things that I pointed out that haven't been addressed, so I have questions. I'm just asking this question, if I'm asking it now in public forum, or if we're gonna do it behind closed doors.
There's one of your suggestions that I would suggest we bring in the chief.
Okay?
I know which one you're
Alright, so-
talking about.
So then, let's revert back to how it was done in the, what I call the old days.
Okay.
Because obviously there's a disconnect somewhere, because we've had three contracts that were negotiated exactly the same way.
I just think this board should come up with what they think is right, and then have the chief look at it over, and then discuss back and forth, then you can call them in.
I agree.
So we'll,
Makes
yeah.
sense.
That's what we did.
All right, so we're gonna defer this. Let's get a date with the chief. Let me just step back 1 second. Do we wanna have the chief meeting with two selectmen and themselves and make sure it's negotiated and then bring back the final at that point, or do we wanna have a non-public with the whole board?
I think the board should have a discussion as to what we do and don't like about the contract and what we want changed, and then it should be brought to Doug. Whether there's selectmen there or not, I don't,
And you wanna do that in non-public?
Yeah.
well, I
Okay.
think,
It has to be.
in all honesty, if this board discusses this contract and says this is what we would agree to, I don't care if it's Kim, I don't care if it's Bob, brings it to the chief, if he
And to
says,
be-
yep, good for me,
Other,
great.
other than the strikes that were done on the chief's recommendation, I thought all the other things were already negotiated back in August when this was originally brought forward.
Yeah. I was
That's when it should have been
confused.
done.
I was definitely lost in this document, unsure of what my action should be.
Yes, so the instructions I were given was to make sure that the money, the salary was consistent with the other contracts that were negotiated.
Sounds like what the
Right,
board
that's
said,
the-
yeah.
what I was told to do. So the increases and all of that is consistent with the town administrator, the police chief, and the captain's contract. Because they wanted to make them consistent.
Okay, so let's table it, let's schedule at the next meeting a non-public with the chief, to review the rest of the items on
I
it.
think the board should be on the same page before we talk to the chief.
That's fine.
Non-public,
I-
period.
How do we do that then?
Okay.
We do.
Sorry, I'm not trying.
We do a
Well, we do,
non-public
we have a
first.
non-public after this, so we'll do it after this. We'll carry this,
Yeah,
this
'cause
topic
it's
into the
just
next
a few
non-public.
questions.
Okay,
Okay, let's do that.
alright.
So we're gonna defer this to our non-public, and then we'll have a follow-up with the chief, negotiate, and then
Yep.
bring it forward to the public.
Perfect.
And when does the actual contract run out?
May 29th, 2026, or
Yes.
May 28th, 2026?
So, we still have a little time.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have a little time.
Okay.
So we're in time. We're in
The
6
reason why we
months.
brought it up before is because we were trying to get the contract nailed for budget purposes.
That's correct.
Right, okay. So the money part is pretty much, but
Yeah.
there's other terms
Yeah.
that are not necessary.
Well,
Okay.
we did make the change in the 2026 budget
Yep,
To
just
reflect it.
because we needed to put something in there for the increase.
okay,
Even though we didn't have an approved contract.
okay. Moving on.
Okay, moving on, Circumventual Highway Exploratory Committee, and basically the discussion and mission statement.
So, I've done some work,
Oh, sorry. Ms. Plansky, as the appointed chair of that committee and formulation of the committee,
thank you, yep.
thank you.
We have members. It's a really good membership group. Steve Weber, citizen. Rick Charbonneau, citizen. Jason Brennan from Conservation, George Lavash from Zoning and Conservation, Laura Gandia from Zoning, Letha Riley from Planning, Marion Colby from Heritage, and I think I asked Chris from Rec. And what I was told is that we could take over the time slot for,
You asked me, and I said economics.
economics, yes, I asked when, and you said the economics,
Last
Economic
Wednesday.
Development Committee slot,
Last Wednesday of every month.
Yep.
last Wednesday of every month, okay.
So we're gonna need to, one, we have to take all those members, get them appointed officially and approved by the board, so we need papers set up for all of them, and then we gotta do
Yeah,
that.
so can you send a list and
I
I'll
will.
do up the appointment paperwork?
Yep. And hopefully I'll know about that rec person. So it would be the Circumventual Highway Exploratory Committee, or it could be check. Thursday night this week, the Hudson Community Center, we're gonna be able to meet with, you volunteered me, I don't think I was here. But
You weren't.
I wanna be there, I
told.
do wanna be there, to meet with Hudson and with Litchfield to talk about what their thoughts are and to hear what their process is, and we'll be able to ask some questions there. I believe Jason wants to go, you talked about possibly wanting to go, John?
Yep.
Anybody else wanna go? You're all welcome to come.
Yeah, it is a public forum.
Yep, it's a public forum, it's at the Hudson Community Center, Thursday night, 7:00. And some of the things that I've spoken to the members, or soon-to-be members about, that we would want to consider at first would be to walk the property, extend to the wetlands, an idea of what the assessment for the property would be, to create categories of land, resale, conservation, recreation, understand the timelines that we would be given, working with the state, who do we work with, how do we work with them? We're gonna be asking some of those questions on Thursday. And then discussions with Hudson and also grants. Those are the things that have come up that committee should be looking into. Does the board have additional? Last meeting, I think I said, think about it.
I think that's a good start. Does the board want to formalize the actual tasks? Because I mean, you have a lot of things you want to do to kind of discover, but what do we want? What do we want as a board, what do we want as an outcome?
We want to find out what the outcome should be, because we don't know. It's to explore the situation, understand the land better, understand the process, and then look at what the best step forward for the town would be to recommend to the board. And maybe it might be 2 or 3 different recommendations, depending on what is found during the exploration. I have like this, I really feel like I have this power committee here that are very well versed in so many areas. Even Letha Riley is involved with commercial assessments and commercial real estate, and I mean, and Laura will be really on top of what zoning is gonna be able to do. Jason's a mastermind investigator. George Lavash, same thing. They are able to dig deep and discover new information. But at this point, we've really basically just looked at a picture of what we think the property looks at and not really decided what is in the best interest of Litchfield or what even Litchfield's options are.
Okay.
It's a really important committee.
So just a question, it's it's a subcommittee of the Board of Selectmen, correct?
Mm-hmm. It is.
Okay, so it has to be, every meeting has to be agended.
Yep.
So there's a email to send that agenda over,
Yep.
to the town so we can
To
post
Donna.
it.
To Donna.
Yeah, Donna or Karen or I, whoever's
I'll
in
sit with you.
available.
I'll sit with
It
you
just
before the
goes to
first meeting.
agenda
Yep.
So it's not a person.
And then I already spoke to Matt about being able to do the minutes for it.
Okay.
He would be able to. I spoke to John about, videoing it, and it would be videotaped just the same way as the Economic Development Committee. Would I assign a vice chair or no?
It's up to you. It's up to you, I mean,
Is
In
if I'm,
case you're not there.
in case I'm not there?
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah, it's good to have, doesn't
Yeah.
hurt.
all right.
So I know when I took on a subcommittee of the board with the transfer of the incinerator to a recycling program, the board they set a, like I said, a mission statement,
Right.
what to do, right? The board defined it, not the committee. So I don't know if anybody's thought about it.
These were just suggestions of things that we could do, so that I didn't come in blank.
Well, let me read my
You got a mission statement?
my idea around a mission statement.
Okay.
The Circumventual Highway Exploratory Committee is charged with evaluating the disposition of the parcels formerly acquired by the New Hampshire Department of Transportation as part of the now dissolved Circumventual Highway layout. With the town holding the right of first refusal on these properties, the committee will assess each parcel's suitability for municipal acquisition, conservation, or the return to the private market, guided by the Litchfield's master plan, current zoning ordinances, and long-term interests of the community. The committee will identify and recommend uses that strengthen Litchfield's tax base, preserve the rural character, support the economic development consistent with the existing commercial and commercial industrial zoning, and protect the environmentally sensitive lands, including wetlands, wildlife corridors. Where appropriate, the committee will explore opportunities for mixed use, village-style, or open space developments that reflect the values expressed by the residents, including trail connectivity, river access, conservation, and small-scale commercial growth. The committee will engage with the Select Board, Planning Board, Conservation Commissions, and all of the relevant town bodies, and will represent the findings and recommendations to the Select Board to inform acquisition decisions, land use planning updates, and any necessary outreach to prospective buyers or developers.
Good job.
That is a
John.
mission statement.
Dude, that's like amazing. Did you chat GPT that?
No, I don't use ChatGPT.
Okay.
I use other
Which
ones.
one do you use?
Gemini.
No, I use Claude. So just for the record, the
That's
way,
really
so
good, though.
I had basically pumped in the economic plan, the surveys were up there, the
Yep.
committees are involved and all that, and I said, this is what we do, this is what we've been saying, how do we make this work? I even laid out what the circumventual highway stuff is.
Love it.
Obviously tweaked the words, but that's the mission statement that I
love it.
would suggest.
So I think there's only one, will the committee engage the residents at their level, or are you going to do it at the board level once recommendations have been given? And the only reason I say that is the Economic Development Committee was actually charged with the surveys.
Yep.
So, do you wanna charge it at the subcommittee level or at the board level? Cause somebody's gotta have discussion with residents and public hearings.
Yeah, it talks about community outreach, so to me, the outreach covers that, right? That's my talk on that. And I think the outreach will be whatever you think
I
it
think
needs
I
to
would
be.
probably be bringing back recommendations from this committee to the board as we went, and if there was
Yeah.
going to be a community outreach, I would probably, I mean, we decided what we wanted to do on the Economic Development Committee with the survey that we did. But I would probably come back to this is enough different from that,
Yeah.
that I would probably come back to the board and say, listen, this is where we are, what do you think? There's gonna be a lot of what do you thinks, in my opinion. But hopefully, with the people that have agreed to participate in this, we're gonna be getting a huge amount of information
Yeah.
and support and.
Yeah, as the statement says, is, inform the board, to inform, to the select board, to inform acquisition decisions, land use plans, and any necessary outreach to perspective. So if you guys say you wanna do an outreach for a survey, you come to the board, we're in agreement, you're going off and doing it, but you're gonna be charged to get it done, right? Especially if it's gonna require dollars,
Right.
which may be another challenge, right?
Right.
But-
This is like the exploratory board though, too. I mean, if this needs to go up a different level, then that's something that, we can also re-examine. It's not something I want to go on and on and on, nor does anybody who's gonna sit on this board want this to just roll.
Yep, the committee will explore opportunities for mixed use, all the things,
Yeah,
all the things we've been
It's a great
saying.
mission statement.
All the things we've been saying we want to do or want to mix, we already have portions of it up there. The south, I would say, would come similar. It opens up the doors for marketing it too, if that's the case, because we talked about that also. So I think, because I took some of my minute notes when we talked about this too, and I pumped it in, and I go, these are the conversations around it, and going, let's put something that covers everything, and it's a good statement. And it can always be changed. Call it a living document, or a
Yep.
living statement, right?
Yep.
I'll send it to you so you have it.
Thank you.
And I'm sure Jason will tweak it and say, let's change this over here. That's
I
fine.
think
Yeah,
Jason
he'll run
will
it
be
through-
fine with that.
He'll run it through his,
Multiple
whatever
AIs.
his multiple AI is. His AI went insane a couple of weeks back, so he was confused why it was doing that.
Saying the other night, he's liking Gemini more and more. So
He needs to go out, try Claude a little bit.
All right, you guys, thank you very much for your support. What else, do we need any motions or anything like that? Do we need a motion to adopt that as the mission statement?
I would panel your board first, and then this is what it is,
Okay.
and see if they tweak it, and then if they don't
Oh,
tweak it, then
great,
you
that's a
can
great
adopt
idea,
it.
okay.
You guys can vote to adopt it, and then let us know, or recommend it going forward, and we'll just approve it.
You'll be
if you
hearing
want
from
to.
me if I need
Okay.
help too.
And,
All of
yeah,
you.
we can get the members appointed the next meeting.
Yeah.
If you
So the
have-
first
if
thing I
you
need
have
to
your
do is get an
list.
agenda for that meeting,
Yeah.
and then,
Legal and I, when we were charged with researching this for the board, I have a binder of documents, historical documents that we put together, so I'll get that scanned and sent over so that, you can use that.
and I
on
can
the-
come in and sit with you and you can tell me what I need to be careful of too. All right,
Okay.
thank you, everybody, appreciate you.
All right, next up is the discussion around school moderator. Mr. Perry, this is your topic.
All right, so I was on the ballot to be the school moderator because that position had came up, and I was serving in that position as well as the town moderator role. The theory behind it is that school and town are separate, though I could not hold the moderator position to be a selectman. I wanted to bring it to the board, let the board make a decision if they want that to happen or not. I'm not committed to it. I know Steve Weber would do it, but doesn't necessarily want to. If it's not an issue with the board, I don't mind holding the title for a year, just to make sure that if they do have a school project that goes through, I can help Steve through it. It's up to you guys.
So you would still have to be at the polls all
I
day?
have to anyway.
You have to anyway, okay,
Yeah, that's right.
yeah.
So in theory, the school moderator position really only does school deliberative.
Yeah.
And then if they had a special meeting, the town still has to be there anyway.
Right.
But technically, if it was a school special meeting, it would be run by the school moderator, not the town moderator. But this town, we're always one of the same, until right now.
Yeah, I don't see it creating a conflict.
I don't know if we wanted to throw it by legal, just to make sure that, because they're the ones that would have to defend anything.
So the question is, can a sitting selectman be the school moderator?
It's not, if you look at the
I think it
conflicts,
is,
it's not even
I don't
listed.
think it is.
No, I
No.
didn't see anything either.
It's not a
Because,
conflict, right?
wait a minute, if a school board, if a sitting selectman can be a school board member, where's the conflict?
I don't think there is.
I
I don't think
it's
it's not
just
listed in the
entities.
RSA.
Right.
I don't think it's a conflict.
That's why I just wanted to bring it to make sure that there isn't any contention here.
I don't even think you need it. I mean, if it was listed in the RSA, I'd say get a legal opinion, but I don't think you need one.
Have legal look at the RSA and say the same thing. I don't see
Yeah.
it listed.
For $100?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't even imagine what the conflict would be. I mean, you have no say in their budget, you have no say in their warrants, you have no say in anything.
Right.
It's not like you, as a board of selectmen member, right? All you're doing is running a meeting.
Right.
You're a ruly meeting, you know? So, anybody else have any other thoughts about it? No?
I have no objection.
Okay.
Have
So
fun.
let's, yeah, assuming legal has no objection, I guess there's no I don't see a problem personally.
So is she gonna run it through or no? No.
No?
Okay. No?
Like I said, it's not in in the RSA, it states the conflicts, clearly, so. All right, next is the, information technology request for proposal. This is for the, services to augment and or replace. I know the last, I reported an update the last meeting, I believe it was. That was our month check-in. At that time, I had submitted a bunch of suggestions, and I think Kim has gone through and kind of weeded them in and corrected any of my mistakes too. So I would say this is really a real full first read for the board. I would suggest we take the time to read through it again and see if anything else. And then if, at the next meeting, if we're good, we can release it and see who will respond, if that makes sense. That'll be perfect, because you'll be back from vacation, and we can kind of figure out who the targets may be too, because there are only certain targets in the state.
It's a short list.
Yeah, it's a short list, and,
MSP.
yeah. Yep, and then we can go from there. Does that make sense to everybody?
Yeah, I do have a question.
Mhm.
Under the minimum qualifications listed here,
Mm-hmm.
when you became the IT director for the town, did you have all of these under your belt?
I had,
Currently
90
supported a municipal client as a manager. Did you do a town before you became ours?
did I do it? No.
He was actually,
I actually did this as my professional job, supported the, top 500 clients in the US.
No, I understand that, but we're asking for a lot of things that might be really tough to come
John actually did the
across.
job for almost 3 years
Before I
he
even
got a contract.
became,
I understood
before I
that.
even became an
I
employee,
understand
even a
that. As
contractor.
volunteer, he started out as. I do understand that.
Well,
I'm
it's
just
a-
saying.
Yeah, but I think we compared this,
With-
other than the Unity, and I think we compared this to others
Mhm.
that were out there. And it was very similar to other
RFPs, RFQs. yeah.
RFPs for municipal services that are out there.
He was probably in the beginning developing what
Yeah,
municipal,
I mean,
because it wasn't that long ago that there were no big IT departments and stuff.
I can't see one of these things that you wouldn't want this firm to have grasp of.
Understood, but it's also something that they, like what we do with the building inspector, if they can get a certification within a certain amount of time.
So
Well-
what this would probably be is not an individual, it would be
Company.
a
Yeah.
company.
Yeah, or whoever.
Yeah, and then,
whoever.
but it's also one of those things, they can come to us and say, listen, this person doesn't have these qualifications, but they have all this.
Yeah.
And typically that's something that you're like,
Yeah.
have you ever worked in this kind of environment?
Yeah,
I do see your point.
Or
You
they've
could be
got this
singling out somebody.
person on,
Mhm.
that has this one,
Right,
and this
right.
person knows this one, and this person has this one, and as a team, they
Yeah.
all provide.
Yeah, that's usually what you get with an MSP is,
Yeah.
so the,
you have experts in certain fields, and they call on each other when they need to.
So the
supply.
MSP that I worked with before did focused on schools and municipalities and also larger companies and stuff like that. So they had the skill sets. There are some unique skill sets in here potentially, and I just noted a few other mistakes I must have missed, so we'll go back in and clean up a little bit more. So, because I've retired some of the stuff, so I want to get them out of there. So there are MSPs that have the experience, because there are MSPs that are supporting a lot of these agencies today. I can think of two that have the police side. I can think of several others that have all the other ones, because
And
they're
this
helping
is a,
others.
this is a company that we definitely want to hire a company that would be a backup. Is that correct? Not necessarily, we're looking for a person to do the job and a company to be the backup. Is that correct? Is that what we had talked about?
Yes, so it would be a backup for the IT director.
Yep.
In his absence, or if he decides he's gonna jump on a cruise and never come back. And
Okay.
then we could rely on an MSP to cover us, and then decide how to move forward. Keep going with
So
an
it's
MSP.
still a
or have
two-shot,
an individual.
it's still a two-shot deal, which is
Yes,
something that we
yeah.
aren't currently getting right now.
We'll be paying,
And that's what this is that correct?
yes.
Okay.
Yeah, the concern was we didn't have a backup.
We did have a backup at one point.
We're not talking
And
about that. We're
the
talking about
board,
now.
the board removed the funding for it.
Yep, okay, all right. So we're gonna reread what you've sent us on that and come back. Yeah, and then put it out when you come back from vacation.
Yeah, and then we'll have to figure out where the money comes from.
Okay. Yep.
It's not gonna be cheap.
Okay, second public input.
Okay. All right, so we added the last piece of the item we added to the business generator was, we need to make a motion to, well, let me defer this to Kim. I'm not sure I totally understand. This is part of the leasing agreement. We need to make a motion to clarify.
Maybe not, but we'll try this. So
Okay.
we filed the credit application with tax exempt, and that has all been approved for the police car leases. In order for us to sign the paperwork for the leases, which going back, Mr. Brown did for several vehicles.
Highway vehicles,
I
yeah.
did for the last highway truck. There's paperwork that comes up that you have to approve every invoice, things like that. In the past, the Board of Selectmen have authorized the TA to sign these documents. But in order to do that, you have to make this motion, and then I have to go to the town clerk and get her to sign off that the board made the motion. You generally see this with grants also. You authorize someone, I think on the conservation grant, we authorized Mr. Brennan and, someone to do the paperwork and file the necessary reports. So that's what this motion does. And there's kind of two parts of it. The determination of the need, which is basically saying that you've all agreed that there's a need to lease these 3 vehicles, which was ultimately done at town meeting, so that's, and then the approval and authorization for the TA to approve the documents, sign the payment requests, and that's one of which John has in his hand, where he has to sign off that you made the motion and agreed.
So we have to read this motion verbatim, the whole thing?
Do we have that motion?
Yeah, it's in the portal.
It's at the
Looking
top.
for it.
Yeah, top, it's
looking for
it. Way
agenda
up
note
top.
number 2 on the top.
Yeah,
It says,
Number 2?
yeah,
Very
please,
top.
please add to agenda number 2 note.
so
Oh, there's
someone
2.
can start with be it resolved,
Okay, got it.
I'll make a motion of the following. Be it resolved by the governing body of the leasee as follows. Number 1, determination of need. The governing body of the leasee has determined that a true and very real need exists for the acquisition of the equipment described on Exhibit A of section number 5, dated as of March 20th, 2026, to the master lease purchasing agreement dated as of October 15th, 2015, between the town of Litchfield leasee and tax exempt leasing corporation leaseor. Number 2, approval and authorization. The governing body of the leasee has determined that the agreement and schedule substantially in the form presented to this meeting are in the best interest of the leasee of the acquisition of such equipment, and the governing body hereby approves the entering into an agreement and schedule by the leasee, and hereby designates and authorizes the following persons to execute and deliver the agreement and schedule of leases on behalf of such charges thereto as such person deems appropriate, and any related documents. including any escrow account, any escrow agreements, necessity to the consummation of the transaction contemplated by the agreement and schedule. Authorized individuals. The governing body of the leasee further authorize Kim Kleiner, Town Administrator, to sign any payment request or partial acceptance certification form and/or final acceptance certificate. Whew.
All that approval and authorization is the document listed on the portal underneath that says Exhibit A.
Yeah.
If you open that up, it's gonna say everything from Exhibit A to Exhibit H. The determination of need and the agreement, those payments match what was approved in the warrant article completely. So the principal and the interest. And then the, payment requests and the partial acceptance certificates, those don't come into play, until we've actually received vehicles. So we'll get some vehicles in, I'll sign off on the partial acceptance. Of course, I'll work very closely with the chief on all of this. And then once we've received everything, the fit up, the vehicles, we'll sign the final acceptance. Tax exempt holds the escrow. So this all goes through, it all gets approved, they hold the money and they release it as we finish these steps. That's basically in a nutshell.
It's good interest rate.
They're very good to work with.
Yeah, we used them on the tower, we used them on the previous stuff, so.
Highway trucks.
Did you get a second?
Not yet.
I was gonna ask that.
I was waiting. All right, second by Mr. Perry. Further discussion? I know, Bob, you had some, you wanted to discuss it because some of it was, the POs were partially in the
We
thing.
just
but-
did exactly what we usually do.
Okay,
I'm good.
all right. Then all in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 500. I'll hold off on signing until you tell me which way I gotta sign. It's just flags everywhere that say do this, and they're all not lined up, so.
Can you send that to Matt too, so that he can include it in the minutes?
Yeah, it's on the portal specifically, so
Okay,
he usually
it is,
grabs the
yeah,
portal
okay,
too.
good.
Yeah, he'll grab it on
Right.
the portal.
Copy and paste.
Perfect.
And I know also on the same topic, there was a PO, this PO for the MTT that was approved in the consent, there's no PO form to sign, so. And I don't wanna sign it because it's actually the IT side, so what I'll do is, you
Okay.
can leave it for Steve Perry to sign it sometime,
Yeah.
maybe tomorrow, whatever he can buy. Okay, but it'll be in the
Get it
folder.
done in the morning.
All right, next up is, second public input at 10 o'clock. And there's nobody here but us, so we're gonna close public input at 10 o'clock.
The young fellow behind the curtain wants to go home.
Yeah, I know, he's okay.
We're almost there,
He's,
almost.
he's getting paid by the hour. So first, next up is town administrator reports. Make it short, you're taking us home.
Okay, real quick. I'm on vacation. Thursday and all of the next week. I'll be back on April 6th. We held a leadership meeting. I think I discussed this, but we did talk about two issues you should be aware of. Building maintenance issues. We now have a shared document so that any department head can report a building maintenance issue, and they're being documented and they're being tracked and they're being assigned. And then we started another shared spreadsheet, and that's BOS review of items that you should review with the state reps. So we're making a list, all the department heads have access to make a list of items that we feel you should address with your state reps, be it legislation, or ongoing issues. On March 18th, I did a walkthrough of the building with Dave Kidwell, and he's putting together a list of items that need to be addressed. We'll bring that back to the board for your review. The general budget only has about $4,000 left in our maintenance line. And that's because we've already spent a decent amount on the police water heater that needed to be replaced and the roof, with the ice dams.
Leaking.
That we did, realize that there is a trust fund that's held with the trustees, that does have, a substantial amount of money, a little over 60 in it. So what we're thinking is we devise a plan on how to tackle all these items, and then the board can figure out how you want to move forward. Legislation update, there's the House Bill 173, which is the one that we were really worried about, because it was gonna change petition warrant articles and eliminate subject matter. That's just gone to an interim study, so nothing will happen on it this year. House Bill 348 is on the consent as ought to pass, and that one is gonna change welfare rules. So if that passes, we are gonna need a work session in non-public to actually work through welfare and how you want that to progress. And that will require some changes, especially the financial standards. So we're watching that one. House Bill 1137 amends the Budget Committee to only give the school board member and the select member a non-voting capacity.
On
On the budget committee.
Budget Committee?
Takes away your vote. There's a hearing at the Senate tomorrow morning on that one. The House passed it.
It would,
You really need to stay out of our towns.
Yeah. It'll make you both ex officio. We don't like that. Then Penachuk, our favorite subject. So, Penachuk, had gotten a loan from the PFAS remediation, grant program, which is a state program. And they actually got it back in 2024. They had gotten a quote from an engineering firm on how much this project was going to cost to update the Penachuk wastewater treatment facility. That quote came in too low, so they went back to PUC.
You think?
The engineering firm figured out it was going to be, roughly $6.1 million more than they had estimated. And Penachuk PUC has approved that additional request. That is probably going to result in each residential customer seeing another $2.07 per month.
Could be
on their
worse.
bill. That's an average customer. That's not a customer that uses a lot of water.
I gotta tap a ground well.
Well, it went down like 2 years ago, so.
That's good
They're just
ammo for next
working
year's
on
warrant
taking it
article.
back.
Slowly but surely, we knew they would.
Yeah.
Little bit here and there. And then I did put that Building Systems Trust Fund, underneath for you to see.
Yeah.
And with the March balance, so that you know what that is.
On the Penachuk, where do they stand on their reorganization? Because that's kind of what halted us from proceeding with
Great,
water.
great question. So there's a lot of moving pieces right now.
Still.
So you have the whole agreement with Manchester for Manchester, Salem, Derry, Wyndham. They're expanding that whole system. So the question's kind of how that's going to affect Penachuk. Penachuk has the right to go back and ask for another review of rates We thought it would be in March, but we haven't seen it yet. They did refinance 99 $1,000 in some notes and things, so it's still a moving picture. They're still focusing on the reorganization, and they have a lot of moving pieces from that. So it's not over yet.
It's just smoke and mirrors,
Well, and so the state's working on how they are going to get water to all these municipalities, Derry, Salem. Londonderry's gonna be on the new with the Manchester system. What's that gonna take away from Pennachuck, right? Cause Pennachuck already has a presence in Londonderry.
Yeah.
So there's still a lot of moving parts that the state is working on. And the city of Nashua, is Pennachuck's shareholder, is working on. I think until they really get the refinancing of all the debt from the consolidation done, we're just not gonna know. And of course, you need to know that before you can tell what the impact would be, unfortunately. So, slow road to nowhere.
Yes. We've been traveling that for a while.
Yes, and every time we think we're getting somewhere, something pops up.
Is that it, Kim?
That's it.
All right. Before we move into selectmen reports, let's reorganize those committees. Perfect segue, I guess. Is there anybody interested in assuming any committee or any desire to stay on where you are?
I'd like to jump to conservation. I think that's conservation and budget's the only ones I have not been on.
Okay.
I was gonna volunteer to do budget, but
I'd rather not do budget. I'd rather conservation.
sounds like budget's gonna be easier now. You don't have to,
Done the
vote on
road.
anything.
Oh, that's easier. I think that might be harder.
All right.
Easy to skip a meeting.
I was gonna say, yeah, it might make it harder to sit there with your mouth shut.
Yeah.
Anybody have any objections with those two suggestions?
I'd kind of like to stay on conservation another year until DeRocha is a little bit more firmly established. And then I would gladly switch to planning. But I think that the agriculture is,
Okay. But I'm wondering it's only a suggestion.
okay,
With the exploratory committee formalizing and monthly meetings and stuff like that, this allows you to kind of focus on that. You're still gonna be able to consider conservation and continue working with those parties involved, because you've got several members that are conservation members on there too.
I am still worried about agriculture though.
And something to think about when you're doing this conversion of this property too, potentially,
It's okay,
right?
if you want,
No, I just-
sign it, it's fine.
I'm asking because I'm just saying that you're gonna have a lot to do with this due thing, and I think in a short window of time, you're only gonna have a year to come up with this, potentially, right?
Yep.
Since we have to, because if we're gonna have to go to the voters, we're gonna have to have something for the next election.
Okay,
So, to relieve your calendar a little bit, potentially?
sure.
So I will say also, if I do budget, does that become a problem now,
Why?
if I'm the school moderator?
You have no jurisdiction over their budget.
Yeah, that's right, I wouldn't be able to vote anyway.
Yeah, you don't vote on their budget, you're just orchestrating a meeting.
Okay.
You do vote on the budget. You'd be
Right.
voting.
On the budget
Not
committee,
if
yeah,
they
but
take it away.
but if he takes it away, no, but even still, as a moderator, he doesn't vote, he has no say at
No,
deliberative like that, so.
Yep.
I wouldn't think so.
I'm just trying to be helpful. I can do anything. I'm offering to do budget. Thursday is the worst, Tuesday's the worst day for me. Thursday
Same, Rick.
kinda isn't great, but I can make it work.
And I'm happy to stay as a backup to budget, if that works, or if somebody else wants to be a backup, so I do think you need to have it, because there is gonna be those Tuesday meetings that happen during the budget season that happens, which I could, someone could
Tuesday's the only
fill.
day that's bad for me because of my commitment at work. But if I know weeks in advance, I can sacrifice my Wednesday.
Okay. How about, planning?
I definitely wouldn't have time to learn a new board. If I can't handle the old one, I sure wouldn't be able to handle a new one, right?
Yeah.
You guys seem to have
I'd
worked
say the
this out,
planning's
so,
an easy lift. It's not too bad.
so you want that too?
I don't want to commit to too much because I don't know where I'm going to be standing and as soon as I land back on my feet. I just know with conservation, I haven't done that one yet, so I'd like to dip my toes in the water.
I'll just stay with my heritage, and then, since you think the other one's gonna be a big lift, I'll just stay with that too. So that'll be my two.
Okay.
Heritage.
Heritage, yep, unless somebody else wants heritage.
So we have,
Economic development's none.
right, well, it's gone, right, we closed that down. Energy's been non-existent, right? We,
Oh,
do you
God,
have
I
any,
haven't had a meeting in,
We haven't had a meeting. It is, so everyone has seen the new Eversource rate,
mm-hmm,
which was artificially lowered last year by them putting in funds. So we couldn't go out to bid for the community power. That has now changed. Eversource is up 11 cents. Londonderry just got 9 cents through community power.
saw that.
I have spoken to Standard and they'll be going out to bid, so that will require the Energy Committee to make a recommendation, cause that's how it's written at the PUC. So we have to keep it, but it will be a onesie, twosie here and there.
Yeah, but we had a strike price on that too. I don't remember what it was.
What?
Didn't we? A price that we wouldn't execute on. Maybe it was in here.
Well, we did.
well, we
when-
strike the contract for the town stuff at like 11 cents something, that was our strike, I believe.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
but that's when
That's
the
different.
Eversource rate was so low that we
Yeah.
couldn't
That's right,
do it.
that's
It
right.
was like anything less than a penny, right?
Mhm.
Now it's,
So, yeah, I don't remember
So,
what it was, but it was, yeah,
if
that's
we
right. It
wanted-
wasn't for, community power, it was for the town.
so someone's pretty safe just taking that in case we need them.
I'll stay on that then.
And Bob, you said you still like to stick on
I'll stay
recreation?
on like another year, yeah.
Okay. So the big one is, so we have budget, Steve Perry, rec is Bob Leary, conservation, Steve Gannon, heritage, Diane Lansky, capital improvement committee.
Monday, first Monday of every month. It's a real humdinger.
Anybody have any?
Plus, we don't know who's gonna be chair, cause Michael's not here.
Is he stepping down from that too?
Well,
He was
the
a,
Planning
chair
board.
has always been the person from the planning board, so I assume Jared will step in. But it would really help to have a selectman. Jay and I are just staff.
mhm.
We don't hold vote, and Brian, we don't hold votes, we're just staff.
If no one wants to do planning, I will beg my wife forgiveness.
I'll be your backup,
Okay.
and I'll watch the meetings and see how tough it really is. I don't want your wife to get mad.
They've been pretty easy that, the new development mixed-use village district is up, and that's gonna start soon.
Mhm.
And then really that's policies, procedures is really what we've been doing.
The next big meeting's April 7th, which is a public hearing.
Yep, the public hearing.
If there's no objection, I'd like to stay on emergency management. So we have one slot open still, and that's capital improvement.
And school facilities.
Oh, so that's tomorrow night. I'm happy to stay on it if Bob doesn't want to go back on.
I'd wreck tomorrow.
Oh, you have rec tomorrow, okay. Is there anybody who's interested in,
Good for you, Bob.
Diane? Oh, no, you can't, because your husband serves on it too, so we don't do that.
On what?
Just,
CIP?
No, FIC.
Oh, FIC, oh, gosh, no.
School facilities.
Chicken.
Peter on it?
Yeah, Peter's on, that's why I said probably not a good idea. So, I mean, I'm happy to stay on it. It's not a heavy lift for me anyway.
My problem is it's Tuesday.
Yeah, that's what I figured, so.
It's
What
really,
about the
it's
first
really a
Monday
school
of every
board.
month?
You're just kind of.
Actually, to be honest with you, CIP would not be a bad one, because it lines up with budget.
Yeah.
Because you get well, you'll get it because of the board anyway, so I won't do that to you.
Alright.
You say yeah?
Yep.
All right.
Alrighty.
Anybody want to back him up?
I think Diane wants to. She's laughing at me.
Dude, I'm not laughing at you. I'm just sitting here in my place.
Yeah, I'll back him up.
Okay.
Bury
you
the
go.
new guy. Bury the new guy.
Here you go. Dude, I nothing more than I wanted to help.
All right, so budget is Steve Perry, planning is myself, when Diane is a backup. Rec is Bob Leary, conservation Steve Gannon, heritage is Diane Plansky.
250 is me
But,
as well.
yeah, capital improvement committee is Steve Perry and Steve Gannon as a backup. Emergency management is myself. School facility is myself. Ad hocs are gonna be CHEP, which is Diane, obviously she's got a heavy lift there. And then energy committee is Steve Gannon. So that cleans up that.
Okay.
And then we can move to our reports, which I'm not sure there's been much, but. So selectmen reports. Mr. Leary,
I have nothing to report.
moving on. Cool.
Meetings?
No, we had an election. That was the night of their meeting.
Yeah.
We meet tomorrow.
Heritage
So,
Commission, am I next?
Yep.
Heritage Commission elected their officers, Marion Colby and Carl Frank. They remained the same, Marion as chair, Carl as vice chair. They had a historic building discussion that's delayed until hopefully next meeting, with the library coming in. I attended the spring fling, which was a lot of fun that the school put together. It was well attended. And tabletop topics. I'm looking for topics. Laura Gandia kind of presented itself as zoning for today. Does anybody have any tabletop topics that they would like to do, or suggestions that would be information other than showing up only when we need something from the voters, that would be information that would be good for them to have? Just when we want money.
I'll keep thinking.
Okay. It might be a good idea to have the chairs of the different commissions come in and talk about what their priorities are. That might not be bad, especially if we're aiming towards not just do Laura, but do all the chairs of the commissions that we're looking for volunteers for. And they can talk a
Maybe
little
bring-
bit about.
Maybe bring them all in at one time if you can, right? Or
Yeah, that would be
potentially.
great, because that would be just a roundtable discussion.
Yeah.
That would work.
Yeah,
Might be hard to get them all to be available at the same time, but,
yeah, if you get at least some of them, and it's
yeah.
probably better. I don't,
And also, we never talked with Kevin Brown, and now his budget has failed.
Yeah, I think, it probably makes sense that, I think Kevin would be a good starter to come in and talk about
What's gonna
maybe-
happen now?
or just in general, the road conditions and why we're doing what we're doing. I would not raise the issue of the shortfall, potentially, but also talk about snow removal, because we're gonna get past the season and maybe explain how the season went,
Okay.
right? And we can air it right as soon as winter comes next year,
Yeah, I mean,
so I don't know.
we're gonna have more to talk about probably in a couple months. especially at the board level, because, April, Kevin and I sit with NRPC and start the new PCI report.
Okay.
So you'll brand new sheet.
Okay. Yeah, we'll keep on thinking of ideas.
I did get a piece of correspondence from Mike Parker. Londonderry's doing something that I think we're already doing, where they're trying to get together a power buying.
Community power, that's what we
That's what
just.
we-
We're already doing it, yeah.
Yeah, we're already doing that,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Okay, that's
Yeah,
what-
I
that's
saw
what I
it.
responded to him.
Yeah, we're already doing it.
Yep, that's with the Nashua, that's the opting out to unenroll.
Yeah, and then,
Standard powers.
standard power.
Yeah, I replied because that was approved by the voters and had to be approved by PUC, so we already have a.
And I think that was done before he moved into town, so maybe, and it hasn't been really
Yeah,
televised or advertised, because we haven't been
For
able,
3 years, I think.
we haven't been able to make progress on the whole thing, so.
No, and Standard Power has like 15, 16 towns, and we've all been waiting.
Okay, Mr. Perry doesn't have any today.
Looks like I got a meeting Thursday
Yeah, we're meeting Thursday.
for the budget committee.
Mr. Gannon?
Planning Board, Jared O'Connell is now chair, Travis Tucker is vice chair, and we approved signage for Finnegan Fence and Jolt Electric. Next up on the agenda is public hearing for, what do they call it, Colby Farms? Is that what it's called, Colby Farms? Mixed Use Village District.
That's the, right there of Albuquerque.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Albuquerque
Albuquerque.
and CBH.
Across from the 9-hole.
Yep.
Okay, and don't have anything to report. Budget committee hasn't met. Obviously, Steve's stepping in there on Thursday. Emergency management has not met, and FIC meets for the first time in the last couple months tomorrow night, so more to come in the next meeting. So that kind of wraps up our business agenda. I haven't forgotten anything, right? But keep me honest? Okay. So we do need to go back into non-public. It's a continuation of our earlier non-public, and then we have a follow-on. So I'm gonna make a motion that we go back into non-public under RSA 91A:3, Roman number 2, Section A, the dismissal, promotion, or compensation of any public employee, or the disciplining of such employee, or the investigation of any charges against him or her, unless the employee affected, 1, has a right to a public meeting, and 2, requests that that meeting be open, in which the case shall be granted. And then also under RSA 91A:3, Roman numeral 2, Section C, matters which, if discussed in public, would likely affect adversely the reputation of any person or other than the member of this board, unless such person requests an open meeting. This exception shall extend to include any application for assistance or tax abatement or waiver of a fee, fine, or levy, or other levy, if based on an inability to pay or poverty of the applicant. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion's made and second. Roll call vote. Mr. Gannon?
Aye.
Me, aye. Steve
Aye.
Perry, aye.
Aye.
Lansky, aye. Bob Larry. So we're going to go in non-public. That'll adjourn our business portion of the meeting. We'll only come out of non-public to adjourn the meeting. So we're in non-public as of 10:05 p.m.